Cool. All right. Let me see if Sam hasn't got here yet. She'll join us as we go. But due to sake of time and everybody's day, I want to kind of go ahead and get started. I don't know if we'll take the full time, but we're going to go until we don't have anything left to say, I guess. That's how we'll go. But to start with, I just want to say thank you for y'all joining our committee's meeting today. My name's Blake Carter. I'm the chair for the Ag Econ and Community Development Committee. And I'll kind of let my my fellow teammates here introduce themselves. Nathan, I got you first. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Central, and I am through the University of Minnesota. So thanks for joining. I look forward to seeing everyone in Billings in 1 month.
Robin?
Awesome. I'm not muted. My name is Robin Stewart. I am out of the University of Georgia Extension, so Southern Region. I'm also going to take minutes today, so if I look distracted, that's why, and don't mind me.
All right. Jake?
Jake Hadfield. I'm with Utah State University Extension. I'm representing the Western region. Just excited to be here with y'all today.
And Sam, like I said, she's not with us right this second, but Samantha Garrett is also our other member of our team, and she's from Penn State Extension. So to kind of put a little bit, to kind of get everybody talking, if we want to, could we go around to everyone else and let y'all introduce yourselves too, and kind of why y'all decided to join our committee meeting today? And I see Miss Maxwell on my screen first, so if I'll pass it on to you.
I'm Charlie Maxwell. I'm an area agribusiness agent in South Carolina, and I will be our state chair, committee chair next year.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. Kevin?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Kevin Burkett. I'm an extension associate for our agribusiness program team here also in South Carolina. It was mentioned about doing a 5-minute lightning talk as part of the committee meeting today.
Okay. Brian, if you want to introduce yourself, I see you on my screen.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Blake. Brian Beer, an area livestock agent in South Carolina with Clemson Extension. I'm also the Professional Improvement Council chair for this year for NACAA. So I'm here to help answer any questions anybody has.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. All right. Chelsea.
Chelsea Anderson with UK Extension. I'm a county agent in Cumberland County, Kentucky, and I'm part of the Kentucky Ag Econ team, so thought I would join in on this one.
Awesome. I've got Carol.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carol Holden. I'm with the University of Arizona. I'm the extension director for Cochise County, but I'm also a half-time economic development agent. I'm brand new to NACAA this year, and so I joined this meeting just to learn and see what things are about.
Awesome. I got Miss Lisa Jones.
Hey, good morning. I'm Lisa Jones. I'm the program coordinator with West Virginia University Extension with the Small Farm Center, and I'll be attending AIMPIC to do a presentation under this committee this summer. So I'm just here to learn more.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Connie.
Sorry about that. I'm Connie Strunk, a plant pathology field specialist with South Dakota State University, and I am serving as our national vice president, represent all the committees, and just kind of here to oversee the workshop, help guide discussion if need be. Not really having a speaking part, but just here to help answer questions, and want to thank the committee for all of the work that they've done this year and kind of welcome those that are incoming as we gear up and start the new wave. So thank you.
Thank you, Connie. And Miss Desiree.
Hi, I am new to NACAA and I was just hoping to learn. I will also be giving a presentation in this track at Billings, so just popping in and seeing what I can absorb.
Awesome, thank you. And I don't know if Scott, if you want to say something or not, but we do have Scott as well.
I'm here. That's all you need to know. If it goes down, it's all my fault. But anyway, I'm
Well,
serving
thank
as
you.
executive director for in my 27th year. So if you have questions about things, just shoot me an email or give me a call.
Awesome. Thank you for all you do, Scott. And Miss Sharp, I saw you join us. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group? Maybe we'll come back. We'll see. She might have some technical difficulties coming in. Well, we'll go ahead and kind of go through and start the kind of the format for the meeting today. Like I said, we've kind of introduced everybody, but this is kind of a visual of our committee. Each one of us comes and brings a little bit different background to it, to the table. And I promise you, Nathan knows a lot more than just casseroles or hot dishes, as he would call them. But I just wanted to put that on there to just pick at it a little bit. But everybody, each one of us, we're kind of represented by a different image there. We have a different specialty, different area that we really enjoy working with. I really have enjoyed working with this group of folks. Really good group of vice chairs. We are going to say goodbye to one of them, and I'll say that for the end. But we are keeping the majority of our group together, so I'm excited to see what next year holds for us as we plan and get through this AM PIC as well. So just kind of wanted to show y'all who we were, put a face with it. Let's see if I can get it going. All right, so starting with, I wanted to kind of talk through and give everybody an update on the pre-tour. This was pictures from last year, but we have a really incredible pre-tour set up for us for this year. So this is kind of a screenshot of kind of our itinerary for our pre-tour for this committee. And we wanted to really, if you look at all the other pre-tours, a lot of them are going to be multi-day. In the past, last year we did our committee's first tour that anybody could really remember. And we did a one-day tour, and we kind of wanted to stick with that. We liked the way it flowed last year. And we wanted to really get a snapshot of agribusiness and Billings. And so Robin, Jake, Nathan, Sam, and myself worked really hard to kind of think about what we wanted to see. And Robin did an excellent job reaching out and confirming three of our three local agribusinesses. So we'll be going to an apiary to start the day, followed by a alpaca ranch, which I'm pretty excited about. And then we have had extremely fortunate luck that the owner of Agro-Organics has actually invited our whole pre-tour to a barbecue lunch reception before we do their tour. So they're going to be cooking barbecue ribs, chicken, and all that kind of good stuff for us. And we'll be able to eat and fellowship and kind of network a little bit before we actually get things going. And so we'll do that before the tour, and then the final stop. We wanted something more local to that side of the United States, and so Shields is a local kind of a sporting mountain hiking gear type deal. It's got a Ferris wheel in it, so we figured that would be fun to kind of close the day off and just kind of do some local shopping before we head back to the hotel. So we're really fortunate to have this lineup. And then also, like I said, Agro-Organics is completely sponsoring our lunch for everybody. So we're extremely thrilled on that. If y'all didn't get a chance to sign up, we are pretty much done with being able to register this year's pre-tour. But going forward, even if it's not our committee, we do encourage y'all to look into these pre-tours. I think they're really excellent. Last year was my first one, being on this committee, having being able to help plan it and execute it, but also just being a part of it really just builds a way to connect and network a little bit more than the rest of the week, we get a little bit busy when it comes to the actual AMPIC. So having that time to just have some fellowship and network is really, really good. So I would definitely encourage y'all to look into those next year if y'all have not been on one before. Now, as far as presentations, I know some of y'all are on here, so I did want to go through that presentation list as well as moderators, just so y'all are aware of who's going to be moderating y'all's sessions. So y'all are aware if y'all have questions, y'all can reach out that day or beforehand, of course, if anything comes up. But we had a lot of good applications this year. I think we ended up having close to 20 total applicants or presentations submitted through us for our committee. And we selected 12, but we were given an extra time slot, so we actually ended up being able to offer 13 presentations, some of the best ones across the nation. And if you're comparing to other committees, I'd put money that the Ag Econ committee's got some top-notch presentations. And so if y'all are around on Monday, June 30th, these are the presenters that we're going to have speak that day. I'm really excited about that. And then on the Tuesday, this is when it gets a little bit funky down here, and I'll explain that in just a second. And Brian, you can maybe provide confirmation, but is that time slot 10 to 10:30 correct for the additional slot?
Actually, it's going to be 11.
11. Okay. I'll make a change of that.
It'll be an 11 o'clock one, and that's in a different room than the other ones that you have.
Okay. I'll make an adjustment on that. So it'll be at 11, and we'll have I'll probably be the moderator for that. I'll go with that session. So I'll be able to help during that time frame. So not the other moderators you can see here, Nathan and Robin. I appreciate all of our vice chairs being able to step up and help out with the moderation. I appreciate that a lot. We are going to be without Sam at this AMPIC, but being a mom and stuff, we'll give her a pass. New mom, so we'll give her a break. But we're really excited to have these presenters. So that's kind of what we have for Monday and Tuesday. And before we get to the lightning, I wanted to give Kevin enough time to actually do his lightning round. Before we do that and kind of do some more group discussions, I did want to go through our committee goals that we've set for this year and kind of talk through those. So our committee, the chairs met last week or the week before, and we discussed for next year, actually potentially hosting a super seminar instead of a pre-tour for Colorado. So we're going to get y'all's input and some insight in that towards the end of today's meeting. But we want y'all to be thinking about what are some relative topics that y'all would like to see or would be willing to come to and learn more about. I'll toss around some ideas towards that time too, but just something to think about as we're sitting here through this presentation. And then we're also thinking about doing either a tour or super seminar for Minnesota. Some of us will be rotating off, so that'll be a different look on the committee. So we didn't want to nail down exactly which one, but we do plan to do something in Minnesota as well. And our other goal that we kind of adapted from last year's is really this cross-state collaboration among colleagues and engagement by state ag econ chairs. I've had a lot of more engagement this year from state chairs than I have in the past, and I've really enjoyed having that, seeing that come out. People asking questions, what they should be telling their state, and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate that and their effort of just inquiring and asking how they can be plugged in. So we're hoping to keep that up and make sure that the state chair list is up to date from an ag econ standpoint. We had a few last year when I sent out, just a message to all the state chairs. A few of them were maybe had left extension or transitioning and whatnot. So I want to make sure that we have an up to date one. So that's one of our other big goals that we're going to go into with this next year. As far as plan of work goes, I did want to share that as well. Just kind of a timeline. Another thought we had was to do a webinar 365. And so I've kind of outlined that a little bit. So that's another area that we would love y'all's feedback on what y'all would like to see, what would be useful and relevant to you. Right now, one of the topic proposals that I recently done a training with was asset mapping to strengthen our local food systems. And I thought it was a really, really good training, really good webinar that I attended, and I learned a lot. I've already utilized some of that in my local programming. So that could be a potential topic, but we'll also open it up for other ideas later on. So just be thinking about that too. But this is kind of the timeline that we have proposed. So each month we have something that we've kind of outlined at our deadline or due. And if if this is your first time seeing like a NACAA committee, each month, we have like a calendar, a working calendar essentially of things that we have to do throughout the year before our AMPIC. So this is just kind of that outline. So it's pretty easy, cut and dry. But I just wanted to show that with everybody so y'all can see the transparency there. All right, before we do the breakout, or I was debating on the size of the room. Since we only have about 13 folks on here, we'll do it more open, just kind of open discussion, larger group. But before we do that, Kevin, if you would like to, I'll let you do the lightning round. Is there a way to give him the ability to share his screen, Scott or Brian?
I think it looks like I might already have it. I can try it here.
Oh, okay. Yep. No, that's perfect right there.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll take just a few minutes to talk about a little project we've done the past couple years and thought it might be of interest to this committee and the agribusiness programming as a whole. So a farm gate project, and I actually realized there's several folks from UGA on here. So there's kind of a similar project I know that goes on there. And I'll start off by saying that I think it originated with UGA and then South Carolina hopped in for a handful of years. I think the last time South Carolina contributed to that overall project was back in maybe 2016, 2017. But basically the purpose of the project is to get the acreage and then the value of the production within the state. So for Georgia, it'd be all their different crops, and for South Carolina, it'd be the acreage and the value of the crops in South Carolina. And this was all reported by the extension agents around the state, and so it would include like row crops, livestock, as well as like fruit and vegetable crops as well. And I also think like sod and some of those other more like specialty type items. So that was going on for a while, but South Carolina, I think, stopped participation about 2016, 2017 with that bigger project. But the data is very helpful. It helps extension agents know like what the production is within their particular areas. A lot of times it can help fill in like maybe research needs or for putting in grant proposals and things like that. It's very helpful data to be able to reference back to. And even I think administration, they use this to justify maybe asking for positions. If there's any like disaster issues, like it can really fill in a lot of detail for all those different reasons. And we see, third parties like local governments or insurance and other agribusinesses are also interested in this type of information. So it can really, there's a number of uses for it. And so, but back a couple years ago, we had a request through our commercial horticulture team about maybe restarting it on a smaller scale and just doing basically the fruit and vegetable side of the project. And so we wanted to like pare it down a little bit. So back in like the fall of 2022, we identified a handful of crops that we said, we're just going to survey these. We'll see how it goes. And then maybe we'll continue it the following year. So collards, lima beans, peaches, strawberries, sweet corn, and watermelon was what was surveyed in the fall of 2022. Not necessarily any particular reason for those crops other than they do have maybe a little bit higher acreages within the state. They have maybe significant value in the state. And one or two of them, I think, were requested by different researchers that they felt like it would be helpful if we surveyed those for some of their project. So we did that, and agents submitted this data through a Qualtrics online survey tool. And basically, if they were in 4 or 5 counties, they would report, did you have any of those 6 crops within your, say, 4 or 5 county region? They submitted that, and then we got all the data on the backside that was compiled, and then we took that information to make it into kind of like a summary report. And so this is what we ended up with in that particular year in 2022. Basically just summarize all the data that we got back from those agents, just to say, these are the counties where it's grown, this is the total acreage. Did this kind of like heat maps just to give a visualization of some of that. A couple other things like, was it organic or was it related to processing? Just a couple other points of data there. And so we took that then, and sometimes the farmer would be willing to share like their prices for when they were making sales during the year. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't, but we had some data like out of the Columbia Farmers Market. It was a really good source of data to help reference prices that we saw in 2022, for instance. And then we had some other sources of data, like we would use specialists and the agents and some of our budgets and things to estimate an average yield. And so with the acreage, the average price and the average yield, we could then multiply that information and come up with, certainly not an exact number, but come up with an estimated value of the crop for that particular year. So in this case, we had a little over $16 million was the estimate of strawberries within the state. Now, we probably know we missed, probably some acreage within the state. We tried to be a little bit conservative on the price, and we tried to be a little bit conservative on the yield as well. So we did that to say we probably know the value is at least 16 million, and it's probably even greater than that. But we're probably pretty comfortable with saying it's at least valued at that much. You can still find these reports. It's through our commercial horticulture team runs a blog, and the scgrower.com. If you go back sort of through the archives or you search through those crops, you can still find those reports. So then the following year, we did the same thing, but we expanded it into 16 different crops that were surveyed in fall of 2023. Then we asked our IT and web development team if they would create a web page where we could house some of this information. So then they were surveyed in fall of 2023. We compiled that data. We had a student intern with us in the spring and summer of 2024. So we started looking at that in 2024. And then these got published in about June and July of 2024. So they are, as of a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at it, it looked like they had 1,100 views so far for this. You can, as you scroll down the page, it goes to each crop, gives that same information, gives the heat map for that. And so we had those 16 crops, and we're doing another group of, I think it's 14 or so crops for this coming year. And we did a rotation to where it would be approximately 12 to 15 each year. And then within a 3-year time period, we would restart the rotation. So this is our 3rd year. We had 2022, 2023, and now 2024. So we'll restart in 2025 with those 6 crops that we started with, in addition to there's 6 or 7 other ones that will start in fall of 2025. But this is what we've got, a couple agribusiness students helping us compile this data, and then these will be published a little bit later in 2025 for our 2024 data. Do just want to make a quick note of the folks that contributed to the project. Many of these are part of the South Carolina Association of County Ag Agents and part of the greater organization of NACAA. The majority of these are on the commercial horticulture side because they're the agents out in their particular counties. They're the ones that are reporting the data for the fruits and vegetables grown around the state. And then the 2 bottom names there, Grant and Rowan, those are our students that are helping with this information for this year. So as I said, we're about to restart the 3-year rotation. We did the 14 or 15 crops. The agents really said it kind of was pretty burdensome with the original project, reporting so many crops and basically restarting it each year. Like you might have maybe 40 or 50 different things that you're reporting on. So we really kind of shrunk that and just decided to do that 3-year rotation. And I think, what will be interesting is seeing, well, what changed with strawberries in the last 3 years, for instance, and what, did it trend upward? Did it trend downward? And just for all those different crops, I think the historical data over time will be helpful as well. So, and other than that, we just want to minimize any gaps in the data. If a agent leaves their area or if new farms pop up, we just want to make sure we're not missing some of that when those changes happen. So if we could get, we've got some other projects where we're trying to get some price data from different farmers markets around the state. I think that'll help fill in on the price side. And if we could get some more data from the farms as far as like maybe their average yield and some of the prices that they are charging, I think that'll just help fill in the data a little bit more. But that's just sort of a quick thing about the project. And I do want to recognize Zach. He's kind of helping coordinate on the commercial horticulture side. He's big. He's been involved with county ag for a while as well. So I just want to recognize him.
Thank you, Kevin. If anybody else has questions, I did have one. Has it been, since y'all are kind of restarting this whole process, how have the agents in the counties or in, I guess, your areas responded? Are they pretty open to helping out? Has it been easy for them to work through this, or any of that feedback from them specifically?
Yeah, I think so. There's still a handful that were around back in the prior project, and so they were pretty familiar already with the process. And because we had scaled it back, I think it was a lot more approachable and maybe easier for them to just do the 14 or 15 crops as opposed to what they were doing before. So that was pretty easy with some of them. I would say a number of those have even, like the names that I showed earlier, have even started within the last 2 or 3 years. So some of the more senior members on the team, they kind of gave them maybe the lay of the land or like how to approach the farms and ask about some of this information. So really all they had to report was the acreage. And that was sort of the starting point. If they were willing to share some of the other things like yield and price, that's always helpful, but it wasn't necessarily required. And I think it was, in some cases, it was good for them too, because then it really helps them hone on what is like produced in their county and get familiar with all of that. So it is, farmers tend to be private people, but felt like acreage was a pretty safe starting point, and maybe we expand from there. But they're as they're going out and making visits, or as they're having phone calls with their farms, that Qualtrics, hopefully it was easy for them to submit the data, and that was kind of the thought process behind that. So it's gone okay so far. I think we included on the reports, like if you're aware of missing acreage, we can take that on the backside if it's not originally caught, and we'll just try to update that moving forward. So I don't know if you have any comments about the UGA project. I have talked to Jared over there, who I know is overseeing that project.
Yeah, Jared's done a really good job. I think he came in, I guess, last year, a year and a half ago, maybe. Last year, I think, was his first year of doing it solo with us, as kind of the key guy in charge there with that. And he's really done a really good job of getting that agent feedback. And I think that's kind of why I was asking that question. Is we saw, at least for me, I've kind of learned some better tricks and tips of how to get the data collected, because of some of that feedback he was getting, and how we've adjusted some things, and some of the resources he's generated to provide to agents to help us has really made the process a lot less cumbersome. Even with the vast size of things that we're trying to get reports on and numbers on, because we do have a thick farm gate report that we go through. So it's been a breath of fresh air to kind of get that at least being heard, and kind of those that feedback being utilized and actually turned around to make things easier for us as agents. But I think that's awesome that y'all are doing the reporting. I don't know if Robin wants to speak on anything in her experience with it, but I think there's a lot of value in this. And if other states see our models, I think it's a really good opportunity to show your worth, especially if you have states that might be having some leadership that might view ag as not as important anymore and things like that. It's a really good tool to use.
Yeah. And I think something Jared mentioned that is something we'll, I hope, be able to utilize. He had mentioned like because of the historical data, and I think because y'all are repeating it each year, like he could provide that historical data to say, you reported say 50 acres of strawberries previously. Is that the same? Did it go up? Did it go down? So being able to reference some of that historical data, and hopefully as we get to that 3-year rotation, we'll have some of that, and it makes it maybe even a little bit smoother and a little bit faster going forward.
Yep, you're exactly right. And we've even, Jared's done a great job of interactive models online and really put an emphasis on the online part of this. And I think that's super huge, just to be able to provide information to counties, to commissioners, and real easy access. And you can see the trends and stuff that he's kind of started putting some of that historical data in, and we can see our county and see some of the change in value over time. And I think it's a really good tool. I think we're moving in the right direction. It sounds like y'all are too. So I appreciate you taking time to share a little bit with us for our meeting today.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go switch gears back to the presentation here and kind of finish some things up here. Going into, like I said, we're not going to go into breakout rooms, but just opening it up, open the floor up to everybody. We have a few questions or topics that we would love feedback on. So if y'all feel free to unmute and jump in whenever you feel like it. But to start with, we talked about that 365 webinar. I'm not sure if anybody else had ideas or topics they would like to see, but I'll just kind of open the floor now for that. And maybe I'll give you a little bit of an example. Some of the hot topics we've done in the past or we've talked about were like succession planning, things like that. Those could be options or something down that avenue. Having the conversations with farmers, stuff like that could fit some of these webinar 365s, just something very more of a focused topic rather than a broad topic for this one.
Like, did I see that you had a potential topic on there about
Yes.
asset mapping or something along those lines?
Yes, that was kind of my thought. Was I really gained a lot out of it because I'm in a county that's quickly urbanizing on one side and very rural on the other, and having an asset map that shows some of the local UPICs, the farms, the where people can get fresh produce and fresh meat, and where they can go to get their seed or their plants. That was one thing I really wanted to provide. So I've kind of used GIS and worked out a map of different ag assets in my county to really showcase how present and prevalent ag is across our county, even with it urbanizing pretty heavily in one side. But there was one of our specialists for UGA. She gave the training to us, and so there was my thought would be to see if she would be willing to provide that training for this webinar or modify it to be something similar. But it was a really good training, especially from the community development side of things. If no one else has any ideas for that or thoughts, feel free to let us know later. You can always email us. I'll kind of move on to the second bullet point there, ideas for the super seminar. And I talked to Brian yesterday, and so one of the big seminars that's being attended this year is about AI, right? So there's one at this AMPIC that's going to be a pretty widely attended and very popular topic to go to in session. So I didn't know if that would be something we would want to look into, but make it more specific for community development and the ag econ side. Something more finite or more focused rather than more of a broad, because it sounded like this super seminar they're doing this year is more of a general AI and extension, and we can make it a little bit more focused to our committee. But that's just one of the ideas. But I'd open the floor now if anybody else has some thoughts, or what would you want to attend as a super seminar?
The one idea I have, Blake, is especially in the north central kind of upper Midwest region is farm finances. As we, the farm economy goes up and down, income and profit wise, and we're a little bit in a downturn the last year or two. And just kind of explaining to all of our extension colleagues in this group about, what are some farm finance 101, what can we do to help farmers kind of manage their lower income years or their up and down incomes? What can we do to help that kind of finance 101?
I like that a lot, Nathan. I like that a lot. We've had a big topic here is, cotton market's not great. So a lot of folks aren't planting that this year in our state. And those that are, it's pennies on the dollar. So it's not a whole lot. It's dropped pretty significantly over the last couple of years. And so, we had a lot of growers trying to figure out how to diversify or how to fix something, bring in different income or change their strategies to reduce cost. So I think it's really, really relevant in our state too, that same kind of topic, at least from an agent perspective of working with farmers. And Robin, I don't know if you wanted to add if your experience, or Jake, if that's something that's relative to y'all's to y'all's experiences or y'all's counties, but I like that a lot, Nathan. Anybody else got any ideas or topic suggestions?
There was one dropped in the chat for client relationship management. So as you had said,
Yep.
asking if we have much, I don't see a lot of true production farmers in my county, as you know, so I don't know some of the helping farmers navigate the financial challenges. That's certainly something I think is always going to be viable and always going to be beneficial. Personally, in my community, I don't know that that's as important of a topic for me. But as Lisa said, maybe relationship management. And I think even the discussion around that, around how do you build some of that connectedness so that maybe you are more engaged in some of those things. Because the people I have that are more production farmers, they are less likely to want to use us or kind of reach out to us for that type of resource. And I don't know if that's a lack of knowing it exists or just kind of pretending to be more private or what that is, but potentially an option.
No, I think I like that too. The human resource and human aspect is another piece I think that falls under us. I know Lisa had put that could be going into another committee. I think there's several committees that could overlap with that kind of topic area. But I definitely think that we could tailor it to our committee's points of view and focus on that side of things. I think being able to have those conversations being able to build those connections with farmers, I think is super important to have those financial discussions in scenarios like that. So I think they could go together. I do think from a super seminar perspective, I think it would be more attended if it wasn't a financial 101. I'm gonna be honest. The word financial is probably not going to get anybody to want to jump at the gills to come sit for an hour or an hour and a half. No offense there for the finance folks, but I don't know if that's going to be the ticket to sell. But we could have that as the end goal, right? So if you're wanting to have those conversations or being able to build that bridge to even get in there to offer those kind of advice or resources, I think that's a good segue to it. I think each one of our states operates a little different, so that's probably why, Nathan, you probably have a lot more need in your area for that versus in our kind of scenario with like Robin and myself. It's kind of case by case. We don't have as many clients that necessarily come to us to help them make financial decisions, I guess would be a good way to put it. It's more of the agronomy and production side is more of what they'll probably be coming to us for. And that could be our state's that's just how our reputation or how our ag econ side is viewed or used in our state is a little different. So that's something we could try to figure out, as both of those topics are very good. Anybody else got anything to share or potential topic ideas? I love the conversation though.
I don't know if it'd be more webinar or more super seminar, and the conversation might change. I don't know if it's too politicized, but I don't know, like a deep dive on tariffs or something, if that might be interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. The tariffs, trade. I know. I believe there was a or a webinar that was on the farm bill that was done this year or this past year. So I know that's been. I was thinking farm bill. I was thinking tariffs. Tariffs would be really good too. The trade aspect. That could be more of a webinar potentially. Thank you for that, Kevin.
There was a chat about advertising it as how to apply for a loan instead of like Farm Finance 101, but how to apply for a loan and just an overview of finances and financial statements.
I think that wouldn't be bad. I don't think that would be bad at all. And honestly, tell me if maybe Nathan, if y'all get this, does anybody else get questions about like grants or helping farmers fill out stuff for grants and loans and things? So like that is something I have helped with.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I was getting at with that suggestion. If you're like
Yep.
trying to help people prepare for applying for those grants and loans, they need to understand all the financial statements that they're asked for when doing that.
Okay. That could be a really good one. That could be a winning ticket right there as our proposal. But I like that. I like that a lot. These are really good ideas. Keep them coming. Oh yeah, the homestead. Yep. Homestead, new beginning farmers, and we don't all have to do this in 1 year because we can spread this out. These are some really good ideas though. This has probably been the most constructive idea session that we've had at a committee in a couple of years. So I really do appreciate that for everybody. Just bringing all the ideas of what's needed in y'all states, because that's what we want. We want to make sure this is something that's for y'all too. So thank y'all for sharing. Going forward, last year I did want to kind of switch gears to this last bullet point. Last year we tried to do monthly meetings and we did it for a couple months and attendance kind of fell out a little bit. And so as a committee, we kind of put that as like, okay, well, we might be doing it too much or too frequently, just because one more Zoom is just one more thing for folks to join in and try to meet every month. So we might be changing that going forward, but just for our knowledge as a committee, what are some other focal points or thoughts that y'all are want more information on, or that our committee could really step up and maybe try to help navigate or start?
Blake, we have another vote for new and beginning farmer issues in the.
Okay.
So I think that's an area that is going to continue to be of interest to most of us, supporting those small scale people.
Yep. And that might be something we can take on as a committee to do throughout the year, kind of a little bit less often, and see how that goes. We can brainstorm some thoughts as a committee, but I do think that is a good point. That could be a big focal point for our group. Anybody else?
Can I hold on that for just a second and ask?
Yep.
We talk about this interest in homesteading, and that's a lot of what I see is like homesteading, people who buy 10, 20, 30 acres and want to at the very least produce from themselves, hopefully eventually sell something. What types of resources and things do our faculty and people on here, what types of things would be most useful? And I'll kind of preface by saying something that our committee has worked on through this last year is a kind of introductory workbook for new agribusinesses. I was working on some edits to it last week. It's not quite ready to be released yet, but that is something that we've kind of got coming down the pipeline. And so that's an option, but out of curiosity, what are the types of resources that you all need? Are you looking for training and conversations among us in terms of what are the things we're seeing, what are the topics that we're covering? Are you looking for resources to disseminate to your end user, right? So I guess I would like a better idea of kind of what that looks like for you guys and what support you're needing, because I think that that might be a great opportunity for this committee to do some work moving forward.
One of the things I'm seeing the homesteading movement out here in Utah as well. Just due to the large land prices, people can only afford to buy small acreage. But one of the things that I get a lot of questions with that I don't have a lot of answers to, excuse me, is marketing, being able to get your business up and going, the start, like basically the farm to table model. But
Yep.
how do you do that? And one of the things that I think we could really deep dive into is bring AI into it, but have it focus specifically towards how AI can help you develop a marketing plan, how it can help you to be able to write Facebook, Instagram posts,
Yep.
that kind of area.
I love that, Jake. I was just on a meeting with some of our Ag Econ faculty as we're planning a program up in the northern part of the state. And one of our marketing specialists was just talking about how they're teaching about the utilization of the AI to help write some of these marketing plans and the business plan, and utilizing some of that technology and stuff to help craft their actual end plans. So I do think that's very relevant.
I think in Kentucky, especially here, so I'm in extremely rural South Central Kentucky. I'm right on the Tennessee line. So homesteading is very unique, I guess, because I have everything from 5 to 10 acres up to 100 plus acres is what people's buying. So like it's the full spectrum for me. And it's not just one niche market either. And so being so rural, the marketing aspect would come in very handy. And that workbook would be great, something to start with them so they can see kind of the whole picture before they ever get started. Because most of them have zero background in ag when they come into my office.
So maybe a model, something to disseminate that's like a modeled business plan to kind of show a fully fleshed out, would be a good resource to kind of be able to disseminate to folks.
This is really great feedback, and I'm just thinking, Blake, with the workbook that we've kind of got started, I think some of these things are covered pretty well in it, but I'm even thinking, like, we could add, like, a roadmap, so to speak, of, like, here are the questions that you need to be asking at these steps to kind of guide the process along. So we can certainly incorporate some of that. I'm really glad. Thank you guys for the feedback on this. This is really helpful, and I think a little bit more guided than just homesteading, because yes, we all have it, but what do we need to help support those people? So thank you for all that feedback.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. Is there any final comments on this before we finish up? Just being respectful of time, we got about 10 minutes left, but I'm gonna probably try to get y'all out of here a little earlier than that. Anybody final thoughts before we wrap up? Okay. So before we go, Jake, it's been fun. It's been real, and it's been real fun. We really appreciate all the work you've done over the past couple years. I got that date wrong on your vice chair thing, and I apologize on that because that is not 2026. It is 2025. So I apologize for that. But we really do appreciate it. Jake is going to be going to different. Jake, I'll let you say which committee you're going to.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun in this committee and I've learned a ton. I think the pre-tours we've done have been really cool and it's just been a good opportunity. So thank you guys. I'm actually heading over to the Sustainable Ag and Natural Resource Committee. for the next 2 years. So I'm still around, and I honestly, if you guys get this homesteading stuff up and going, I'm going to be right here with you the whole time because it is a major need in my area. So anyway, but thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we might let you back. We don't know. We'll see how good you drive this year at the pre-tour before we decide if we'll let you back or not. You know, but I just wanted to say thank you to him. Like I said, the rest of our committee will be coming back next year, and I'm very thankful for them. I'm very thankful for their support and their help throughout the year, and continued support as we get into the AMPIC. But I think that's pretty much everything that I had prepared. Does anybody have any final last thoughts or words before we adjourn? All right. Well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all joining us today, and from our committee to y'all, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in Montana.
Thank you.